I'm Donna Lampkin-Stevens, and we're back on Spotlight, where we feature the University of Central Arkansas's College of Fine Arts and Communication. Thanks for joining us. My guests today are my colleague JDull, Associate Professor of Digital Filmmaking, as well as Jared Beck, First Assistant Director of our second feature-length narrative film, Sympathy Pains, which will premiere Monday, September 23rd in Reynolds Performance Hall. So join us when we return for a very special Spotlight.
Here at News 6, we're dedicated to keeping you informed on all things happening around the state and locally. We are
News 6.
JDull, Associate Professor of Digital Filmmaking, and Jared Beck, who is an MFA student who is working on his thesis film this year.
It.
Join us now on Spotlight, and welcome back to Spotlight, Joe.
Thank you.
And welcome to Spotlight, Jared. You've been on the crew, but not as a guest before, so
right.
welcome. Okay, so here's a biggie to start off with. Why make feature films here?
Well, I kind of look at it as the sprint versus the marathon. You know, that our students make short films and they learn a ton doing that, but really they can go out on a weekend, you know, kind of screw things up and stumble their way through and come out with, you know, the better part of their short. And again, they learn a ton doing that, but much of what we teach is about doing this for a career. And in a career, you can't keep people out until 4 o'clock in the morning for a shoot. You can't do the things, you know, that our students have a tendency to do. And the same in making a feature, you know, because you have to get up the next morning and, you know, and do the thing again. And the morning after that, and the morning after that. We did 31 days of shooting, I think it was. And so I say it's just the difference between you learn how to sprint. Well, now you know how to run. That doesn't mean you can actually do this, you know, for a living yet. And that's what I think the feature brings.
So Jared, you've made multiple short films. Tell me what it was like working on this feature-length film.
Well, it's just like Joe says. I mean, it's you have to think about what you're going to do for weeks in advance. And I mean, you can on a short film, you know, a 5 to 10 minute film, you can just power through it for 2 days. Anybody can go without sleep. Yeah. I mean,
Fake it?
A lot of it. Yeah. You know, I mean, you can just not
that
sleep.
our students would do that.
Oh no, no. You know, and that's probably one of the worst things about it is shooting like 18 hours, you know, and like 2 days in a row. You can't do that for 3 or 4 weeks in a row. You would kill your crew. Mm-hmm. But you know, I mean, in a short student film, yeah, you can do that.
Is this your first feature length to work on?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
All right. Okay, so Joe, give us a summary of our first one. And it was Table at Luigi's, and you sort of brought that with you, the idea with you to UCA when you came here.
Yeah, I had actually written it as a play when I was out in California. I ran a theater company out there for a while, and so we'd done it as a reading and we'd done it as a fully staged play. And then actually was Bruce Hutchinson, another digital film professor, who mentioned, we should try doing a feature here. And they're like, okay. And so I kind of took the idea and ran with it. And very, very fortunately, my wife is an amazing producer. Mm-hmm. And so much of what I am able to do is because she sets up my ability to do it. Mm-hmm. So she also took the ball and ran with it.
But it was really a little easier than this project, probably because you already had the story.
It was in that area, and it was a simpler, just the film itself was simpler. It had maybe 10 locations, if that. In every single way, Sympathy Pains is a bigger film than Luigi's was. We did probably an extra 10 shooting days. We had, I think Luigi's, we had like 40 extras, and we were amazed at that. This one had 157 extras over the course of the time. That number still blows my mind.
Sounds like a lot.
It was a lot. And we had, I think, 31 locations, 36 actors with speaking roles. Again, Luigi's had, I think, 8.
Okay.
So it's just bigger in every way. So it was difficult because it was our first time.
Sure.
And so we were learning a lot that we brought into this film, hopefully. So it was difficult in that it was the first time we were doing it. It was simpler in that it was a much smaller scale film.
So what sorts of things did you learn that you carried over into this process?
Some of it was just how to work with people. We now know who to call in the city. We now know a lot of the right people to get in touch with, that kind of thing. We now have a better idea of how you go about doing casting, how just all the little elements, everything. There's a shorthand that we have now that we were kind of inventing the wheel for us a lot with the first one. And the other thing that we did is we shot for the most part 5 days a week. With Luigi's we did 6 days. Okay. And that just, you never felt rested on Luigi's. Just because that one day off that we had was always production meetings and getting prepped for the week. And so now, having 2 days to make that happen, you could actually get a little sleep in there. Also, the other thing, honestly, is it is purely coincidental, but having a great first AD running our set was just a huge.
Did you have a first AD before?
We did, yeah. But and nothing against him. Just Jared was so well prepared and so well trained. And so things ran so.
It's the education I get here, though.
That's right.
So it's cyclical. Thank you, Joe.
No. That really just made took so many things off my shoulders.
Right.
That then it made. I can't speak for anyone else. My life was easier.
Good. So, what do you think that UCA, as well as our digital filmmaking program, got from the whole Luigi's experience? I mean, had you heard of Luigi's before you did? Is that part of what brought you here as a graduate student?
It did interest me that they were doing feature films
Okay.
here. So I don't know if you had finished it quite yet before, or y'all were about to, or the premiere was not far away.
It was 2010.
Yeah.
The premiere.
So I wasn't far behind. Y'all may have premiered it by then.
I think so.
But yeah, that was something that drew me here, the opportunity to be able to do that. I mean, short films are a great way to hone your skills. I mean, matter of fact, it's probably the best way to hone your skills, because like you say, it's just one weekend. It's not that bad. But you have to do a feature film at some point. I mean, that's just, you have to have that on your resume. You have to have that experience to take that next step to that next level and become a professional after that.
So what would you say about, did it really sort of put our program on the map? More than it already was?
I mean, honestly, the biggest thing to me was what it did to our students. I saw a very marked difference before Luigi's and after Luigi's of just the professionalism of the crew, of just again. You go in, you do your stuff for 2 days, you kind of figure out, oh, this is what this position is. You go and you do it for 4 weeks, you go, I know this position in and out, I understand everything about it, and you can bring that to your own set and to your own crew. And so I just, like I say, some of that was the natural expansion of our program just as it's gotten better, but I see Luigi's as kind of a turning point where there were the films before that, and then there was a dedication that came after.
And you make the film, you have the premiere, which is fun here, and then you put it out on the festival circuit. Tell us about that with Luigi's.
Yeah, well, first of all, we were very fortunate. We had quite a few screens. We estimate it was probably seen by about 10,000 people.
Great.
Yeah, which is insane.
In festivals or
festivals
altogether?
Okay. Festivals. We did a number of screenings just in theaters, and then we also screened on AETN, so that's where a good chunk of those numbers came from. About half of that came from there, but and we ended up winning 4 awards: a Best in Show, and then a couple others that were more specific to the genre of the film.
So we are an award-winning.
In fact, yes.
UCA Digital Filmmaking Program. Okay, so at what point did Sympathy Pains come on the radar?
Well, I'd originally planned it to be a short, actually, because we were just finishing up.
Did you plan to do another one immediately on the heels?
The thought was every 3 years. Having done Sympathy Pains, I'm looking maybe every 4 now. But having 2 kids now, which I had none when we made Luigi's, and just other things in life, it feels a little more comfortable to do one every 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, we finished up Luigi's, and very quickly my wife became pregnant, and the morning that she realized,
I think she was pregnant during the.
Yes, during the premiere of Luigi's.
Luigi's.
She was very, very, very pregnant. She
Yes.
does not like those pictures, actually. But yeah, so the morning she realized she was pregnant, she was at the toilet, not having a good time, and I also realizing what was going on with her, and I wasn't putting it together, but I also started throwing up that morning. I was like, maybe it's just something we ate, honey, because I don't feel good either. And yeah, it turns out that might have been my own set of sympathy pains there. That so I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, there's probably a short in this or something. That I was going to make a little film, and then I kind of found the character of Danny, the lead in Sympathy Pains, who's a comedian who just loves comedy, no good at it. And I was like, that's a fun idea. I like that. I like that concept. And then I started thinking of those two things together, and all of a sudden a feature started coming out.
So at what point did you think, okay, I mean, we premiered in April of 2010.
Yeah.
So at what point are you starting to work on the next one?
The script, actually, I think I had the outline by the end of that summer.
Okay, so pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
and then I think I worked on the script until I want to say December, and then revised until the next summer, and then
Which would have been the summer of 11.
yeah.
Okay.
So that we would have a year then of pre-production to get ready to film in the summer. Of
So what
2012.
goes on in pre-production?
Locations and casting are the two big ones, and
Okay.
of course finding the crew.
So so you've been working on this for a couple of years.
No, I came. Well, I
brought
came
you
on
in
several months
Probably
before.
around January, February.
That sounds about right.
Of 12.
Of 12.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then largely the job. Well, the first AD part of the job ended in when the film wrapped, August
Right.
12th.
Right.
And then you were in our graduate audio class, which also did all the prep work for the audio that then
Okay.
got handed off to our audio designer.
So you do the casting. How difficult was that?
It was
Because did you have more people interested this time than last time?
We did, definitely,
Okay.
yeah. And we also spread the net a little wider. We
Right.
last time we cast here in Conway and in Little Rock. This time we went out to Memphis. We went up to Fayetteville. We went out to Hot Springs. Kind of.
And did you find somebody from each place?
Yes. Yeah. That's especially our biggest find. Our second male lead, Ken Woodard, was from up in Fayetteville, and he was amazing. He's actually been in so many other people's work since then.
We've used him a bunch.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Love Ken.
But yeah, we I had written the thing with Chris Fritzkes in mind.
Our colleague in theater.
Yes.
Okay.
And the hardest part actually.
And how did you sell him on it?
Oh, I told him I wrote him apart.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
So what's the
He
hardest
comes
part?
cheap.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, Fritz.
The hardest part, actually, the female lead was a role that it's funny. When I was in California, I knew a lot of people like this. I could have thrown a rock and hit somebody who could have played the part, but we didn't find anybody who was just right.
And what were you
for the
looking
longest time. Just brassy. That was the main
Okay.
thing. Is
Okay.
somebody with who can kind of hit hard. And we just weren't finding that. We're finding some fine people,
Sure.
but nobody who could really hit that aspect of it. And then someone had recommended Courtney Bennett to us, and Chris knew her.
So she did not come to a casting call.
No, she didn't.
Okay.
But so we got the call kind of through Chris, and then we brought her in. I had a couple of scenes ready for her to go through. Halfway through the 4 lines into the
You
first
knew.
scene, I turned to Kat and I go, and yeah, and by the end of the scene, I was like, okay, I had other stuff. I just wanted. Can you please be in my movie?
So tell us about her. Where's she's from?
She actually is an alumnus, of UCA. She had
Theater.
been, yes.
Okay.
And then moved up to Chicago. Had been doing some work up there. Went to, I'm going to get it wrong, I think Greece,
Okay.
maybe Italy, and had done some work there. And then was back in Little Rock.
Right in our backyard.
Yeah, and
Okay.
had only been back in town for a few months.
Wow.
When
Okay.
she came out for us.
Okay. So then you shot summer of 12.
Yes.
Okay. And where were all these locations?
All over.
All in Conway or outside?
No, we actually we went. We did a church up in Russellville. We did a party scene up there. We did a few things in Little Rock. We were at the Looney Bin Comedy Club. was a major location.
Bridge.
The bridge, whatever the name of that bridge is off the 430. No one can ever remember the name of it. But as
Big
soon-
Dam Bridge?
That might be it. It's the one that goes out to the island.
No, that's the other one.
That other one. Yeah. No
Okay.
one can ever remember the name of it. But
We were there.
I'll think of it in a minute.
Watch the movie, you'll see it.
we were at the Little Rock Airport, actually, and then yeah, all over Conway. You'll see many places.
And
you
that's
recognize.
part of the fun too of watching the films, is seeing people and places that
Yeah.
you know. So okay, and so then you shot and finished last summer.
Yes,
You did all
August
the
12th.
wrap up August 12th.
Yep.
So then what have you been doing the last?
Well, our editor was
year?
actually working on this stuff while we were shooting.
Who's the editor?
Brandon Bogard
Okay.
and his assistant, and they so they got everything together. So we had a cut by beginning of September
Okay.
that we could actually
Of
look at and
12,
go,
okay.
and kind of see what's going on here. By November, we were showing it to crowds. We were bringing people in to kind of test it and just see how
Bringing
does it
them
work.
here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And just kind of see how does it
Who
work.
were these crowds?
Well,
Who
we
did
did
you-
the first one. We just did cast and crew.
Okay.
We called them
Okay.
in because just knowing they'd want to see the film, and because they're going to have a very different reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want the cast and crew to kind of, the word I use is infect
Sure,
a
sure.
more traditional
Sure.
movie-going crowd. So then we did another one a week later, and then a few weeks after that we did one up in Fayetteville. And so, like I said, just polling the crowd, kind of, and a lot of it is just seeing where are people laughing, seeing
Right,
where are
right,
people
right,
paying attention.
right.
When you hear people starting to shift in their seats and things, a lot of that just tells you so much about what's happening in the film that we also have people fill out questionnaires, which gives us good information, but really most of it is just watching that crowd, seeing are they into this, and where are they, where aren't they, and that again just tells you so much.
So
about
was
what
there
it's-
major tweaking to do, or
we a lot of just tightening things. You're always tightening the film. We ended up, as a result of a lot of reactions, we ended up actually adding a scene that we shot in December. We probably shot it 2 weeks before picture lock, before we ended editing. And we added a few shots here and there just to help clarify things, to make things a little clearer. We actually shot a few shots. Were in at the UCA Film Festival, which was back in April.
Last spring, okay.
And then we ended up shooting one more shot. I had a screening of it early August and got a couple of really
This
interesting.
year?
This year, yes, and got a couple of really interesting reactions. That I was able to add one shot to something just to
Okay.
help again clarify something that people weren't quite getting, and we ended up actually cutting about 40 seconds near the end of the film of some stuff that someone mentioned was a little redundant, and they were absolutely right. And
so really that's one difference with Luigi's too. You didn't have the luxury of doing all of this.
we didn't have the time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because you
I didn't-
rushed it too much.
I didn't sleep from January of 2010 to April of 2010.
So I can see.
Once I had a baby, I was able to sleep finally, which
Oh
is
my.
not the
Oh
normal
my.
circumstance. But
Now you're the writer and director, and we've had lots of UCA filmmaking faculty and students
Yes,
involved.
absolutely.
But there are also many other people involved across campus. Talk a little bit about the non-UCA filmmaking.
yeah, absolutely.
people.
Well, obviously Chris is our lead from theater, and Shauna Metter also.
Now Chris, back up, was also in Luigi's.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
he's the second male lead in Luigi's,
Okay.
and that's kind of where he and I really got to know each other, and just enjoyed working together. We did another short a little while before Sympathy Pains, and then but yeah, I wrote this completely
Okay.
thinking of him.
Okay.
Shauna Metter actually is the costumer over in theater, and she did all our costumes, which are awesome. And music is the other big place. Paul Dickinson wrote the entire orchestral score.
Again.
Again,
He-
yeah.
yeah, he did Luigi's as well,
yeah.
okay.
And there's some just awesome work in there. And then the UCA Symphony Orchestra played all the music, which is the
Conway Symphony Orchestra,
Conway Symphony
which
Orchestra,
includes
yes.
many UCA students.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
And Izzy Getzoff
Okay.
was the conductor
Okay.
and led all of that. So.
What can you say about the collaborative process? That's what we're about, isn't it?
Yeah. It's awesome. You don't see this at other schools, honestly. I remember I was at a meeting one time at a school that I was at, teaching at in California, and they were talking about, we were all supposed to get together and talk about, well, how can we collaborate more between our departments? And the whole point of the meeting was all of us to sit down and come up with ideas, and everyone's coming up with wonderful ideas, and I finally went, there's no financial incentive, so no one's going to do it. My dean has told me repeatedly, don't talk to anyone in theater, because if you bring them in, we have to pay them, and that's not good for us. And so until that happens, that's and I was like, all right, that's how things are at this school. At here, I have never seen so many departments collaborate the way that we do it. We actually had art working on the film for a while with
The Department of Art.
yeah,
Okay.
they were going to create some puppets for us.
Oh,
Holly
yeah.
Laws was going to do some stuff. That was an original early part of the film, and it ended up getting cut. But yeah, just whenever I talk to anyone in another department, they go, "Oh yeah, how do we do that? Okay, cool." Just everyone is so happy and incentivized to work together. It's awesome. I love that.
Now, did we have students besides digital filmmaking students involved? Did you have some theater students or? Or sets
for
or
costuming.
costuming?
Shauna definitely had some people. Obviously, the symphony orchestra has a lot of students
Right,
as a part.
right.
And trying to think what else. That might be about it. I'm sure a few show up as extras.
Oh, sure.
Several
Sure.
film and theater minors. I mean, they're
Yeah.
still film students, but there were several students that had theater backgrounds as well.
I
too.
think some of the journalism students are going to be involved in the premiere because they're going to be paparazzi.
That's so awesome. I am so in love with that idea. I can't tell you.
So how did this whole project fit into your curriculum, the digital filmmaking curriculum?
We do it during the summer. That's the biggest thing. Is there's no way that this could happen during the year. It's such a you live and breathe this thing while it's happening. There's so it's a summer class over 10
But
weeks.
it is a class. I mean,
Yes.
they got a 3-hour credit for it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that
it's a full-time job.
Yeah,
It really is.
Is
a
it
full-time
is it a
job.
graduate level course?
Graduate and
or
undergraduate,
You can
so-
do either one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and that's and then like I say, other parts of it end up kind of permeating the curriculum. So a lot of Scott Metter, who is our visual effects supervisor, a lot of his students ended up working on effects on the film as a part of class. So he's teaching them his concept. So he uses that footage, and then it ends up in the film. And the same thing, my audio class, like I say, put together all the audio elements so then my sound designer could come in, take their work and refine it. And so it ends up being a part of everything. There isn't a week that goes by that at least in 3 classes I don't mention, well, this from Sympathy Pains is da-da-da, or this from Luigi's. My audio class, my undergraduate audio class right now is working on footage from Sympathy Pains that had specific problems that I want them to address. So it's and so it's not even going into the film, it's just being used as footage for them to practice.
And like you said, you're still using Luigi's in your
absolutely.
classes. So that's good too. Jared, from the student, I mean, you sort of walk both areas. You're a graduate assistant, so you teach, but you also have been a student working on this.
Right.
What did the students get out of this whole experience?
It is a marathon. You do understand what you're really going to do as a professional, and like Joe said, just going and doing it for a month, you really learn your jobs, and it spreads out throughout the department too, because there's that many students. Everybody that worked on Sympathy Pains, they're that much better of a filmmaker, and they're all working on everybody else's films, and people are learning from them. They're learning the way, the protocol, and just being a professional on set. So I mean, it really just kind of spreads out. It's exponential growth.
How many students can we say? How many film students have been involved?
Directly on set, there's probably over the course of the film, it was about 20, not a huge
I'd
number,
say
but
that.
and
But then you have the audios.
and then the audio students. So by the time the whole thing's done, it's had bare minimum 75 students hands on
So
it.
a big chunk.
Yeah.
Of
A lot of
audio
them
role.
playing key roles too, which
Yeah.
is really what's important.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they're not just getting me and Joe coffee. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, they're
No, that's
they're-
important, too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we do need it. We drink a lot of coffee.
Actually, that was my wife's job. Actually, she was the coffee person.
But and they were our arms and legs. I was his arms and legs, and then I needed arms and legs, and everybody played key roles. I mean,
Had
we
some
had
really funny images in my head from that.
arms and legs,
Yeah.
just like Mr. Potato Heads and stuff running around. And that to me is what really was the most important. Is people got to play an important part and be a part of it, and that helps them do a better job too.
And
you
took it
know?
seriously. I
Yeah.
mean, this is
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and like, for instance, towards the end of the shoot, Mike, our director of photography,
Mike Gunner.
had to. He was out of town for a few days, and so the gaffer stepped in for him. And so everyone just kind of walked up the line, and was now doing this extra role. That so yeah, absolutely.
Who was a student, by the way.
Yes.
That's great. That's
Yes.
great. Now, Joe, I know that you didn't sleep from January to April of 2010, and I know you specifically planned this so that you would have plenty of time to get it finished here. So as we tape this, we're premiering in about 10 days.
Yeah.
Is it finished?
I so wish it were. we're a few days away. There's just all those little tidbits of everything that needs to be done can fit on a page this long.
Okay,
so it's not. It's not.
So you didn't quite meet your goal.
No,
but
July was the goal. But yeah, just
But you're sleeping too.
I am sleeping
Okay,
for the most
so-
part.
okay.
Yeah, things just have a tendency to
Sure.
It
Oh,
will
yeah.
always fill
Yeah.
up. If you have this
Yes,
much time,
yes.
it will take this much time. If
Yes.
you have this
Yeah.
much time, it will take this much time.
Yes.
And a little more.
And a
little more.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah,
still,
actually-
you're not going to be sweating it, getting it finished by
No,
September 23rd.
no.
Okay.
We will be done by Monday, which will be a week in
Okay.
advance.
Okay.
And all I had to do is make DVDs between Monday and
we
Monday.
can do that.
So yeah,
Okay, so why have a red carpet premiere?
because it's fun.
I was about to answer that. It's fun. What are you talking about?
It was a lot of fun the last
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
And so-
yeah.
Okay, so tell us about this one. The activities are going to start at 7 o'clock on
Yes.
Monday, September 23rd.
Yeah, and so hopefully we will have some paparazzi getting some pictures, but everyone is welcome to walk the red carpet. We'll have David Keith is going to be there to do interviews. We'll have a camera that'll then be feeding into the theater. So if you're just in the theater, you can actually be watching what's happening out in the lobby. It should be really fun. We'll also have just props and things about the film that kind of scattered around so people can see. And for people who were in the film or are a part of it, they'll be able to pick up their DVD copy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So I remember you raved about the support that you got from the community for Luigi's.
Oh, yeah.
What was it like this time?
Same and more. It was awesome. People were just closing down streets for us, opening up stores. We filmed in so many places that again, I come from Southern California, where the standard answer is, I'm with a film and no, or I'm with a film and how much money do you have? And so you're just in this place where everyone makes films. You can't make films. You come here and people just open their doors.
That's great.
It's
That's great.
amazing.
And fed us.
And
Yeah,
fed us.
I bet.
Yeah.
That's important.
I bet.
Yeah, no, it took wonderful care.
So are you already planning another one?
Yeah, I got.
But probably 4 years from now.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, 3 years. Because of we would be filming 3 years from now, so
Okay.
premiering 4.
Premiering in 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of have an idea that I'm fleshing out little by little. That
Not ready to talk about it yet.
Yeah, not too much.
Okay.
It's but I was hoping to, by the end of the summer, have an outline, and that's a big chunk of why it's on the 4-year plan. Is that didn't happen with with everything else. I had a second little girl May 13th, and then finishing up the film and other things. So just life kind of got in the way.
Okay. So I believe we have a trailer. So why don't you set up the trailer for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, there's not much to set up. It's pretty stupid, is what it is. That was the goal
Okay.
with it, and I believe we've achieved that goal. So.
So here's Sympathy Pains.
I love every time she says the words. Those 3 words.
Honey, we're pregnant.
Those weren't them.
Congratulations, honey. You're telling your dad.
Okay, Joe, now give us the details one more time of the premiere, when and where, and it's free and open to the public, right?
Absolutely, yes, please. Everyone is invited. We'd love to have everyone around. It's September 23rd, which is Monday night. 7:30 p.m. is the screening. 7 o'clock is when all the red carpet stuff's happening on UCA campus at Reynolds Performance Hall. And again, please, anyone is invited. It's free and open.
Big night in Conway.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on
Of course.
Spotlight.
Thank you
Can't
for
wait to
having
see
us.
the
Thanks,
film.
Don.
We'll be back in a moment. more information about the programs and people featured on the show, call the College of Fine Arts and Communication at 501-450-3293 or check us out on the web at www.uca.edu/CFAC. And be sure to like us on Facebook. We'll be back again next week, so join us then for another Spotlight.